Hey guys! Today we are back with the second last favorites video of the year. I can't believe it's already November, but at the same time I sort of can believe it because I feel like I've just come to accept the fact that every year as you get older, the years just seem to go faster somehow. But at the same time, I'm always excited for Christmas. It's my favorite time of year. Let me know if you guys are excited for Christmas as well. I'm seriously so ready for it. Today we are talking about my September and October favorites, and you guys know the drill. Same kind of categories as always for the favorites, so let's go ahead and get started. My first beauty favorite is my Kat Von D Lock-It Blotting Powder. This was a very special little surprise gift from my sister. I had been eyeing this on our most recent trip to the US. I'd always kind of look at it because it has this really cute packaging that looks like a very kind of gothic wax seal. Super typical of the Kat Von D aesthetic. I have been using this as an alternative to my Ben Nye translucent setting powder. So yeah, I don't really use it as a blotting powder. I actually just treat it as a setting powder because it works so well for me because I have such fair skin, and this is basically just a white translucent kind of colorless powder. I also think this will become my new setting powder for travel just because it is a little bit more compact, no pun intended, than my Ben Nye translucent powder, obviously because it's a pressed powder, so it is going to be kind of smaller. And yeah, I've just been really loving this powder, so big thanks to my sis for that one. I'm just gonna sound so spoiled because my next beauty favorite is also a gift, but this one is from my lovely subscriber Olivia, so shout out to Olivia if you're watching. And I'm sure you guys have seen these before. This is one of the Too Faced Love Light Prismatic Highlighters. Mine is in the shade Ray of Light. I just apply it with a clean finger as this definitely gives a more concentrated highlight and a better result than using a brush. And it sits beautifully over my blush. It blends in really well, and you guys know I love those like peachy kind of blush shades anyway, and this just blends in perfectly with that. And then there's just the other very obvious reason why I love this, which is the packaging. Too Faced are honestly like the masters of adorable and nostalgic packaging, like those blushes that they brought out that look like Polly Pockets. I have one of those as well, and this reminds me so much of the Sailor Moon compact, so just all the more reason to love it. And my last beauty favorite is my set of hot rollers. I don't actually remember the exact model name, but I will insert all that information in the description box below. Now, hot rollers are definitely kind of old school, and the reason I got these was because I think I saw a hair tutorial on YouTube where the person used hot rollers and they achieved these really nice kind of big bouncy curls, and they looked really beautiful, so I thought I'm gonna try some hot rollers for myself. Let me show you guys. See, this is something I struggle with because my hair is so long. All like the nice wavy kind of part of it is out of frame. I curled my hair with hot rollers the other day, and it just creates these really kind of nice, very big curls that form in a more kind of big bouncy way. Don't really know how else to describe it. As you can see, the barrels are quite large, which is good for both achieving a big curl, but also for people who have long hair and they've got like a ton of hair to wrap around these, you've got quite a lot of space to do it. And here's one of the clips. The only thing to keep in mind with these though is that there's definitely a learning curve when it comes to putting in hot rollers, especially with these clips. They are also coated in velvet, which is so smart because the hair definitely grips to this a lot better. Now let's talk about fashion favorites. The first one I have to talk about is kind of multiple items that fall into the same category, and that is just kind of sheer nude tights and sheer tights with a seam down the back. I rediscovered my American Apparel tights with the black seam down the back because I loved wearing them so much. I got another pair that are more of a sheer nude with the seam, and then I got a sheer black pair with the seam down the back. So I've just really been loving those, and also just really sheer nude tights as well. I got these totally plain ones off ASOS. I don't wear these sheer nude tights all the time, especially not in summer when it's just too hot for it. but there's something kind of nice about wearing them with like a short skirt or dress in that kind of in-between weather, and it just makes your legs look so perfect, but also gives you that little bit of extra warmth. I think the tights with the seam down the back definitely have the retro vibe, but for me, I don't know, they just sort of add an extra element of interest to an outfit. And my second fashion favorite is of course my new Fiorucci Angels t-shirt. And also please forgive me using this nasty wire hanger for such a nice t-shirt. I have completely run out of my nice velvety hangers, so I had to resort to using these. If you guys have been following me for a while, particularly on Twitter, because I feel like this is where I talked about these t-shirts the most, you will know that I've wanted a 90s style Angels t-shirt by Fiorucci for so long, and I checked thrift stores, I checked Etsy, I checked eBay for probably years. Whenever I went to any op shop, I would always check the t-shirts in hopes of finding one of these, but they finally re-released the original classic Angels print. And yes, it was overpriced, but like I said, I've been searching for so long and I knew I really wanted it and I knew I'd wear it, so I just kind of splurged. And this is an original Fiorucci design, I believe, so if you do see this print anywhere else and it's not like an official collaboration with Fiorucci, they probably stole it. So, you know, if you want an authentic one, just be wary that people do tend to kind of, you know, take this print and put it on other things. And if you guys are curious, I have a size large. These run super small, but I knew I needed to go big because I have very broad shoulders and this size fits me perfectly. Moving on to my lifestyle favorites. The first item I have is a home decor item. It's just these fake flowers that came in a little vase with fake water at the bottom. I got these from Spotlight, which is kind of like a big craft and homewares kind of store here in Australia. I like these because from a reasonable distance, they look quite realistic because they even have the kind of little fake dirty patches. They don't look too pristine because I find if they look too perfect, they obviously look fake. These look really nice on the bathroom countertop, but since I've been redecorating my bedroom, I decided to put them on my bedside table, or maybe I'll put them on my vanity table. I haven't quite decided yet. Next, I have a tasty treat, and that is the Eclipse Organic Raw Paleo Bar. These are all completely vegan, except maybe one flavor because it has a bit of honey in it or something. It's actually very rare that I find a raw sweet treat or kind of like a raw bar like this that I actually like. I think it's because they're always loaded with coconut oil, but these ones are not the case at all because they don't have any oil in them. My favorite flavor would be the chocolate brownie, the coconut rough, and the berry ripe. And I have also tried the chocolate orange one, which is super tasty. These are seriously so good. I always have a stash of like at least 5 of them. Eclipse Organics is an Australian brand though, so I am really sorry to those of you guys who live outside of Australia and maybe it's not available in your country. Now let's jump into TV shows and movies. The first TV show I have to talk about was a recommendation from one of you guys in the comments of one of my videos. It's called The Good Place. Basically, this show is about a woman called Eleanor who finds herself in the afterlife, and they tell her that she made it to the good place, which is like heaven, and then the bad place is kind of like what hell would be. The only thing is that Eleanor realizes that she was actually sent to the good place by mistake. So I don't want to say anything else without giving away spoilers. Everything that I mentioned is in like less than the first half of the season 1 trailer, so I really said barely anything at all. The main theme that this show deals with is definitely ethics and what's right and wrong. It's a really kind of quirky show. The show kind of reminds me a little bit of like Parks and Recreation and Pushing Daisies. It has those kinds of vibes. But it's definitely not as tame. It has more kind of like, I don't know, like adult humor in it, I guess you could say. But it's a really fun show to watch. I've really been enjoying it. It sort of explores some like interesting themes and ideas. So yeah, definitely give it a watch. Now moving on to movies. The first one I have to talk about is Mother with an exclamation point. To give you a quick overview, I'm just going to read this little one I got offline because they sum it up so well. A couple's relationship is tested when uninvited guests arrive at their home, disrupting their tranquil existence. This movie is the most stress-inducing film I have ever seen. I actually had to just kind of close my eyes at some points because it was really just a stressful movie to watch, and I just needed to kind of relax for a couple of seconds every now and then. It was very, very intense. Watching this movie feels like you're watching a nightmare that you could actually have yourself. If you guys have seen it, you'll probably know what I mean. But it's like when you're having a bad dream and all these bizarre and horrible things are happening and you're trying to stop them, but you can't. Things are just going completely out of control, but everyone else seems to be just oblivious to the madness, and you know you're there going, oh my god, what's happening? Like, we need to stop this, but no one else cares, or everyone else just thinks it's really normal, and that just sort of makes it even more terrifying. I've never seen a film that evokes that kind of feeling before, so it is super unique in that way. But I don't want to give away what the supposed true meaning is or anything like that, because I think it's much more interesting to just go and watch it and try and figure it out yourself. Also, make sure you pay close attention to the use of capitalization in the end credits, because you will find some clues about the meaning in there as well. I just realized that all of my movie favorites are horror movies. The next one is The Autopsy of Jane Doe, and this had been on my list for like 6 months. I just never got around to watching it. Then one of you guys reminded me about it in the comments, so I finally watched it. The title is true to what happens in the movie, but it's about a father and son who are both coroners, and they perform an autopsy on an unidentified woman. The cause of death is unknown, and as they open her up, they begin to discover clues about what happened to her. And for these two characters, it's basically just a downward spiral from here on as all this horrific stuff starts to happen. Make sure you pay close attention to all the little details in this movie as well. For example, the things that you hear playing on the radio, because these will all become more significant at the end. Lucky we are on to the last favorite because the sun is going away because I think it's about to rain. But my last movie favorite is Killing Ground. This is an Australian horror movie. It's about a couple who go on a camping trip on New Year's Eve to a fairly isolated lake, and they see that there is another family's campsite already set up there, and slowly the story unfolds to find out what has been going on at this campsite, and then how this new couple who've just arrived become involved in it all. This is one of the better horror movies that I've seen in the past few months. It's a very gradual build-up, but it is very, very suspenseful, and I just wanted to warn you guys, this movie does have some very dark and unsettling themes. I don't really want to go into detail because they are also spoilers, unfortunately, but just be aware of that before you watch it. Also, if you have seen the horror movie Eden Lake, I think you will definitely enjoy Killing Ground because they have quite a similar vibe. So that sums up my September and October favorites. Be sure to let me know what you guys have been loving lately, and if you have any TV show or movie recommendations for me, make sure you leave them in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video and would like me to continue making favorites videos, be sure to give this video a thumbs up to let me know. If you are new to my channel, please be sure to subscribe. I would love to have you here, and I will see you guys in my next one.